All right, it is 7 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting to order. If you'd please bow your heads and join me in an invocation. Dear God, we pray that you will bless and guide us through this meeting. Help us have productive discussions that will broaden our perspectives. Help us to resolve any disputes gracefully and find principles that we may agree on. Help us generate good plans that are practical, sustainable, and easily implemented. Guide us toward the best way to take action to accomplish our goals. In your name we pray. Amen. If you'd please rise and join me. Shelley, do you have Mr. Rohde's name tag, or do you have Mr. Rohde's name tag?
I apologize for being late. We had an urgent situation at my church, and so here I am. But no problem. Thank you.
Of course. Okay, the next item on the agenda is citizen comments. If you want to speak tonight, please fill out a form. In the back of the room right now, I only have one. So we are going to try to limit it to 5 minutes, and I will call on Ms. Wassner to start us off. That's fine. I don't think that mic is on, Trudy. That looks fancy, yeah.
Can you hear me?
I cannot.
There it is. Hi, guys. Just not. Hi, I'm Trudy Wessner, 43 Fireside Drive. Just want to say thank you for all to attend tonight. As you know, the position on P&Z is to make a decision on zoning for Trilogy. Daniela and Brad, at the last meeting, you made a motion to table the Trilogy item. I hope you have come prepared to make a decision tonight. I watched the last meeting, and your conversations about this item had nothing to do with your decision about zoning for Trilogy. Please get back on task and come to a decision. You're here for zoning. Not sure if you guys are aware, but every time you table an item, it costs the city money, approximately $400. So please stop spending the taxpayer money on tabling items. Daniela and Brad, unless you are prepared to personally pay for this $400 fee, you will need to deny or approve the items on the agenda. If you're not prepared to make this decision, please let council know. The committee members that they need committee members that will read the packets, investigate the issue, and come prepared for a decision, not just table it. Everyone here needs you to make a decision. No, you need to make a decision to do with this, costing the city any more money than needed. Your role as P&Z member is a privilege many would like to have. Do the job you've been chosen for and make a recommendation to either approve or deny. Thank you.
Thank you, Trudy. Do we have anyone else? Shelley? No. Okay. All right, then we will move on to item 4.1. Consider approval of the minutes of the April 18th, 2023 Planning and Zoning meeting. Can I have a motion? Or-
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with one correction on page 14 of the packet for item 5.2 or 5.1. The approval and the motion was to table was a 3-2 vote, not 4-1.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Are there any further questions, comments, or discussion on this? Okay. Then I will call for a vote. Those in favor of approving the minutes as corrected? Aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. All right, we will move on to item 5.1, discussion and action regarding approval of the application of MC Trilogy Texas LLC requesting initial zoning of PD Planned Development District and updating the comprehensive plan and zoning map for 2 tracts of land to be annexed into the city of McLendon-Chisholm, an approximately 441.818 acre tract of land and an approximately 133.325 acre tract of land generally located north of FM 550 and east and west of Pullen Road and situated in the J. Simmons Survey, abstract number 202, the W.W. Ford Survey, abstract number 80, and the A. Rodriguez Survey, abstract number 231 in Rockwall County, Texas, identified by county ID numbers 11534 and 11535, and also being a portion of the property described in a deed to Hodges Ranch Partners Limited as recorded in volume 3828, page 322, as document number 00319510 in the official public records of Rockwall County, Texas.
I make a motion to recommend to McLendon-Chisholm City Council approval of the application per item 5.1 for the 2 tracts of land, one approximately 441.818 acres, and one for approximately 133.325 acres within the J. Simmons Abstract 202 and the A. Rodriguez Survey Abstract number 231 in Rockwall County, identified by county ID numbers 11534 and 11535, and furthermore recommend to approval of the draft ordinance as presented in the package.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Now we can have discussion. Mr. Coker, do you have anything you want to add? I don't believe the item has changed from previous meetings. Okay. Thank you, sir. I know the applicant wanted a chance to speak. I will ask you to be brief so we can move forward with discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Philip Huffines at 8200 Douglas Avenue, Dallas, Texas. What I'd like to do is just to visit a little bit and give you a little bit of information about who we are. I think everybody said they'd seen the presentation that we made for City Council. Of course, we made it 18 months ago, and then we made it again a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to go very fast. Conrad told me to go very fast. Mr. Coker told me to speed it up. And some on the P&Z said, you may not need to make this presentation because it is pretty long. So I will try to speed it up. First, I want to tell you, can I use the clicker so I can go fast? Okay. A little bit about us. Huffines Communities, we started the company, my twin brother and I, back in the mid-'80s, late 80s. So we've been in the real estate business for over 35 years. These are some of the locations of the communities that we have developed over the years. You can see throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Savannah and Providence, very well known. The first T&D communities in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. T&D means traditional neighborhood design, which is hardy plank and front porches and not brick, but some stone. You can't see the amenities there, but there's waterfalls and slides. Waterview, you may be familiar with Waterview in Rowlett. Waterview Golf Course, I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's our development. It's about 1,900 homes on about 750 acres. We built a golf course and worked with the city. One of the first PIDs or PIDs in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex back in the year 1999. Oh, here's some testimonials we got from the mayor of Mesquite. We're in the process of developing a community there called Solterra. It will have 3,000 home sites on the last large tract of land in the city of Mesquite. It's about 1,400 acres. And that was owned by the Lucas family for the last 100 years. The city called us and said, hey guys, would you come build a community here? We talked to the family. They said yes, they'd like that kind of quality. So we worked in an agreement with the city and with the landowners in Crandall. We manage for the owners of the property, the community of Heartland. And that community is going to have 4,500 home sites and around 12,000 people. I'm not going fast enough, so I'm going to keep going here. Who are we and what do we do? Well, I always thought this was funny. We do everything, and we do everything better. So that's kind of a thank you for smiling. Okay, quality architecture. So this is something that we mandate in our communities. These are MPCs. Back in the 90s, before we started building MPCs, we were building subdivisions. And that's not something we want to do anymore, although we still do it. But we love the ability to be creative. We love the ability to really think outside the box and how is this going to be unique? What makes this great? We don't build widgets. We've never been a widget builder. And so we toured throughout the United States, everything from Celebration in Florida to Irvine Ranch in California. So we've seen all the MPCs. We toured them all in the 90s before we started this process, and in the 2000s on how to make a really great community. So you'll notice this slide up on the upper left is in Waterview and Rowlett. When you come into the entrance, we were the first to build a water park, and we hired the firm out of New Braunfels, Schliederbaum, to come and design the slides and build a recreation facility. And this is way too much detail, but the reason we did that is because my kids were small, and we would go to McDonald's, and McDonald's at the time. And why did they go? Because they had a playground. We said, well, we need a playground for the kids. We want Mama to drive by this. And we put it right on the front, and we had a nice entrance and a pond and a water park, so that when she drove by, all the kids would say, Mom, I want to live here. So that's kind of the concept. That's too much detail. So this is some of the fencing requirements that we have at Board on Board. That's one of our communities on the right, streetscape and design. We try to put all our trees in the parkway between the sidewalk and the curb. That's called the parkway. Most cities allow it, some don't. The fences will have shrubs on them to make sure, and Board on Board with the caps. This is all the same quality that's going to be in the Trilogy community. Cast stone address blocks with the logos of the communities. You'll see there's an Aspen Leaf, Aspen Meadows, and Inspiration, the community that many of you have seen over in Wiley, St. Paul. And with the helix, I designed that. That's the DNA helix. And you'll notice that driveways. This is what other developers do. This is how our communities turn out. Same. Viridian's a community in Arlington. It's one of the largest master plan communities in DFW. We started that community. We had some partners, and they wanted to sell it, so they sold it in 2016. We couldn't do anything about that. But everything in Viridian is something that we designed. The clubhouse, the entry features, that's a 12-foot hike and bike trail. And that is a huge lake in front of it. There's Waterview. Many of you have seen that. Inspiration. We try to put art. That sign is 80 feet long. Heartland, once again, a major entry. Waterview entry, Viridian entry, Providence entry features. We like spanning the roads because it gives a sense of arrival. It gives a sense of I've arrived. We also like putting water on the front door because when you put water there, it kind of decompresses everyone, and they kind of just take a deep breath. I'm home. I can see a fountain. And now this is really something unique. This V is in Viridian. We designed it. I worked on it hard, and company Fort Worth built it. It's 48 feet tall. And in order to get the light to come out, we perforated the metal and put LED lights in it. And this was back in 2011, 12, so it was one of the first. That stone you see is tilted up all the way around. There's the art and inspiration. The artist, sculptor, go back to that. He did not build it right. We found this guy. You'll see the art down in Dallas and some of the streetscapes. So we got his name, and I hired him. He's in a warehouse in the middle of West Texas. He's a funny fella. And this is not supposed to be turned that way. And so I drive out there, and the crane had just left. He said, well, the crane wouldn't go tall enough to turn it. I said, oh, he said, artist, luxury or whatever they call it. But this is a great sculpture. It's also lit with LED. And this art is an inspiration also. It's just art that spans the road. It serves no purpose other than just to have art and has LED on it, so they're different colors at night. different playgrounds in different areas in Providence. We have hammock parks, all kinds of playground equipment in Providence. Oh, this is something we just finished, and I'm really proud of it. This is in that Mesquite community called Salterra. It hasn't opened yet. We're building 750 lots at the first phase, which is huge, building a 25-acre lake. And there's a giant, we had tree surveys. We love to save trees. It's a big deal for us. And we had a tree survey, and there was a 52-inch in diameter red oak native, obviously been there a long time. So we said, how can we preserve that? What can we make that? How can we make it great? So someone said, what about Treehouse Masters? They build treehouse on TV, Travel Channel. I've never seen it. I don't watch the TV. And I said, great, let's hire them. So that show's been off the air. We tracked them down. They still do tree houses. They came and designed this tree house, and they just finished it. So this is only a month old. We haven't finished the park around it and putting in all of the gravel and stuff underneath it, but you can see it's a really unique tree house with a platform for kids to have birthday parties. So when we're out there looking at it about 3 weeks ago, I said, well, we've got to have a hose bib. We've got to be able to hose down the platform and get the cake off. So we're going to, never mind. So the one thing that we spend a lot of time on, is a lot of people can build the amenities, and they can build the infrastructure, and they put the streets in, and they do all that. But one thing that we do special is we are focused on the homeowners association and the social fabric. So you'll read my quote up there. The homeowners association promotes the weaving of family and neighbors together to create an environment rich in culture and a lifestyle full of fun and memories. And that's what we focus on. It's the social fabric. It's what we call softscape. So this community will have on a year-round social events coordinator, quarterly newsletters. We have all of that now. We used to have them printed every month, and then went to digital. So the newsletters are once a month in digital. Lots of volunteers. One community, we have 42 events a year. Sometimes we have more, sometimes less. This is in Savannah. We always, not always, but we try to put in ponds. And you'll know Trilogy has a lot of lakes. And the reason for that is such a great passive activity for father and daughters to go and fish. And when we have smaller ponds, not the big one like in Trilogy, we stock it with these bass. And we have, and Zebco sponsors, and they'll give away like 50 rods and reels, 2 or whatever you fish. And we put tags in the fin. And if they catch that fish, they can look at the tag and win a TV or iPod or some prize. So it's a lot of fun for the kids to try to catch that. And we have the biggest fish contest, most fish and all that. This is the only time we let everybody keep about once or twice a year the fish that they catch. Otherwise, they catch and release, but you have to get rid of the population. It's too crowded. We love parades, so we have 4th of July, we have Easter, we still call it Easter, and we still call it Christmas. Keep going. Special signage, all of our signs in our communities and our MPCs are custom built. They're not necessarily what you see in the cities. Our signage, some cities are going to this where it just specifically states where things are located, but in a very uniform way. And this is, Nate, thank you. Names of villages, so this is an inspiration. Those are backlit signs. And so if you'll notice, the names of the villages kind of correspond with inspiration, inspired, success, wisdom. We have Tenacity Village and others. I can't remember all the names. The schools. We work very closely with the school districts. The architecture you see on these two schools, Savannah and Providence, is about the same. It's because we helped design it, because we wanted a porch for the kids to stand underneath, and so they're not in the elements waiting on their parents or the buses. For whatever reason, school architects kind of forgot that. So we said that's kind of ridiculous. And also the stone, you'll see, matches the stone in the community. So we have a theme. The stone on the columns and the stone is supposed to match. George Bush Elementary is an inspiration. We didn't have to work with them much. It was a good design. But in most of these communities, and in particular George Bush and others, we make certain that the HOA maintains the landscaping for the school. You say, well, why is that? Because school budgets are tight, and they won't maintain the landscaping. And here you have a 10-acre site that's a key element of the community, and the trees are dead, and they don't look good, and there's no bushes. So we provide the irrigation water and inspiration from a well for the school, and also we maintain that. The HOA maintains that. The school only has to pay us what their maintenance budget is for other elementaries. So we subsidize. We put in these bus stops for kids. Instead of standing in the rain, we've got landscape criteria, plant material, everything selected. One thing we've done recently, like Inspiration and others, because they're front entry houses, we wanted to hide the cars, so we put landscaping on each side of the driveway, mandated to the builders to do that. When I say we put it, the builders put that. You can see here the landscaping requirement. That's probably 1 yard of the month, but we require trees in the front yard and the parkway. Other details, we built elevated storage, Providence, water towers. Inspiration has a water tower with Inspiration on it. Let's see, we have manhole covers, so our sanitary sewer covers and the manhole covers for the storm sewer. We have custom made, and they'll say Trilogy, McLendon-Chisholm. Now Trudy told me earlier that we had misspelled McLendon-Chisholm all these years, and I'm like, oh, that's so embarrassing. And I said, well, it's right there, McLendon-Chisholm. Anyway, she said we put a C there or something. Anyway. And so we have, that'll be established for the community, and when's it established, and we have shrubs to hide utilities. This is the middle slide, and the bottom is Providence. We love water. Other developers build what's on the top left. That's one of our houses in Inspiration on the top right. Once again, community spaces, lakes, signature communities that we have. We upgrade all the garage doors like in Trilogy. You'll see them be wood or wood look-alike. Sometimes they're fiberglass, but wood look-alike. They'll have handles or something else on it to make it upscale. Can't have mailboxes anymore, but in all of our communities prior to the Postal Service outlawing single mailboxes, we had the logo on the box, and the purpose of that is I wanted everybody to go out and get their mail and remind them that they live in Inspiration. They live in Waterview or where they live. This is an actual amenity center in Heartland. Pardon me. This is Heartland's amenity center. It's fitness on one side, clubhouse space, entertainment areas, water slides, baby pool, adult pool. World-class amenities in Savannah. And this was built in 2004. And a lot of detail with the grotto work. And you want it, okay, I'll shut up. I'm not going to tell you all the details. The lighthouse has a light in it that spins around. We have 2 slides coming off of it. We try to put in birthday pavilions for all the kids and sand beaches so they can have sand building contest, castle building contest. And that's the facility. There's the clubhouse and the fitness centers in that one building. Back in the corner is a full-size basketball court and 4 tennis courts that's covered, and they use that for all kinds of events because you can get out of the rain. Baseball field. Over here is Viridian, a massive amenity center that we designed in Arlington. Viridian's located on about 2,000 acres and about 3,200 home sites. And that club facility there is state-of-the-art. Even has sailboats in the lake. This is Inspiration. This was finished in 2018. And it's a lazy river with a lap pool. The building on the left is all fitness, 2-story. The building on the right is the clubhouse. This is an interior shot of the clubhouse in Inspiration. Interior shot of the Heartland clubhouse. Inspiration, Inspiration. This is what I like showing. So when we're selling homes or we're talking to city officials, we say, this is what we've got proposed. And they say, okay, right. A lot of developers make promises they don't fulfill. And this is what we built. The same. We also built apartments. This is in Louisville. It's a huge, the #1, the largest TOD, transportation-oriented developments on a rail line in Texas. And this is what we showed the city. And this is what we constructed. And here, beautiful amenities, waterfalls, swim-up bars, everything. Oh, that was an older rendering of Viridian Clubhouse. And this is what we constructed. Trilogy Lakes. Okay, I wanted to get straight to that. This is the land plan. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yes. This is the one that's most important. The red, 577 acres, shows the land that's in the ETJ, or was until a couple of weeks ago. The blue shows the land that was originally was in the city of McLendon-Chisholm. And this is the land that was, because it was in the city, was zoned 1-acre lots. That tract up at the north, 130 acres, is in the city of, or was in the city of Heath. Where it is or isn't now, it's a whole different discussion. That was also platted for 1-acre lots. So the red is the area we're talking about because the city has no control over land use in the ETJ. We can go back to the previous slide. And this is the land plan. So right now what we have is 240 acres of state 1 acre lots, 27%. Various lot sizes of 400 acres, 43% open space, 183 acres, lakes and ponds, 10%. We're building 2 additional lakes here, 3. And this is the main big lake that's out there now if you've driven by. It's about 35 surface acres, 30 I guess, and then these will be another 25 acres of lakes. Next. Well, let's go back to, I want to show them okay, go to that one. I'm sorry, go to the next one. So when Trilogy is finished, it'll have approximately 1,800, 1,750 home sites. And at the current tax rate, that will deliver, well, this show 21. This is from 2,100 home sites. That's been knocked down to 1,800, the city's insistence. But at around $5 to $6 million at the current tax rate in annual income to the city. Now, what's important to point out is the city has no obligations to maintain the infrastructure in Trilogy. Trilogy has a MUD, as we all know, or district. That district is responsible for the maintenance of the roads, the water, the sewer, the drainage, any open space, anything that it owns. Only the individuals living in that MUD are responsible for paying taxes to the MUD to take care of all of those improvements. So this money coming to the city is 100% going to the city, like all other taxpayers. They're going to, everybody in Trilogy is going to pay a city tax just like anybody else in the city. But the city gets this money to go and spend, not on road and water and sewer improvements, but on whatever they want to spend it on. Additional developer contributions, 547, home impact fee, and 25,000 for the park every year. And we'll give 2-acre site wherever the city wants it, or a police station if they want it in Trilogy, or if they want it elsewhere, that's fine, doesn't matter to us. Featured amenities. I think it's 9 miles of trails, but to keep you oriented, this north piece up here, that's Horizon Road when it stops in Heath. So Horizon Road dead ends to the property, and that main boulevard was scheduled to come all the way through, and it will, all the way out to 550 here on the south end. And because we haven't worked it out with Heath, it's going to go up to the left there on Rabbit Ridge Road. That's going to be the entrance. This is going to be the main entrance now, down on 550. And I'm going to show you some slides on that. Over here, go back. That's the amenity center. It's a little, I don't know if we have a zoom in on that. I'm going to get to that and where it's located. I wish I could pull this down and grow a foot. Here it is. That. It's cul-de-sac. I mean, that circle right there is the highest point on the property. And so we put the amenity center there, and we built the lake so you could see out all the way down, all the way around. And that's about 40 to 50 feet higher than the water surface down below. So it's going to cascade down and work its way down. And this is the main road with 12-foot trails. That gold is 12-foot trails all the way out. City Park. This is going to be dedicated to the city. I think it's around 3 or 4 acres. And it's going to cost about $1.5 million, $1.6 million. And this will be an amphitheater on the deepest part of the lake where it's the most scenic. This is an image of it. It has bathroom facilities, parking lot, an amphitheater that's covered, and playground equipment there, and a little dock to go fishing on. This is the, I didn't know my slides. Okay, so you can see the site plan there, and we're going to show you, do we have a video real quick? We didn't bring the video? There, well, okay, we don't have the video, but we got images. Y'all saw the video on TV. All right, fine. All right, back. Where was it? Okay, so we got the main clubhouse in the middle. Is this architectural feature that kind of connects the 2 buildings? Fitness building, 2-story over here, 4 pickleball courts over here, a raised platform so that mama can see the kids in the either on pickleball or whoever's playing pickleball, or also on the playground. That's the playground areas here. This is a fire pit. This is dropped down about 20 feet from this, and this drops down. See, that's 484. That drops down to 469. And also another fire pit over there. And the pool complex is really cool. We'll see some still images. Let's go over them. Okay, so we're looking from the west or north. This is the adult pool, and this is the new lake we're building. You can see it slopes down here. And this is really cool, and this is the first time we're going to get this done. We always try to drop the adult pool away from the main pool so that you get away from the kids and you get less noise. But this is unique. This is about 9 feet higher than the pool. So these cabanas that we're building are going to be tucked into the dirt. So this is dirt, and then that'll be tucked in. And so you can stand up. You'll see a slide. This is the entrance. We're getting slides out of order. That's the main pavilion on the left. Fitness is on the right. This is looking back up. This doesn't slope that much. We leveled out the site here. This is for beanbag or whatever here. This is the clubhouse. Clubhouse looking the other direction. Fitness. This is a slide that comes down. This is an area. We need to rearrange these slides. This is an area that's covered for any individuals or families or whatever. They can rent one level or the next level. Each level has barbecue, so they can sit there and barbecue, and they can be outside the pool fence. So this is too long. Okay. Keep going through the slides real quick. Oh wait, I got to talk about this real quick. So this is the main entrance. And there's 2 ponds, and they're not on the same level. So the top pond's about 5 feet higher than the lower pond. And so there's going to be there's a pump, and there'll be a cascading waterfall. Now, you don't see it when you come in. It's an infinity look. But when you exit, you'll see the water. That's the stone and the columns. That's the entry on 550. Don't ask me about the balls. I don't know how they got in there. I don't know about that. You may not. Questions and answers. Questions and answers. Answers and questions. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. If you have any questions, just ask me. I'd like to go ahead and fill you in about the water. That was a question last time. Daniela had, and I think somebody else. And so when we first started the project, we're an RCH CCN. CCN stands for Conveyance. Certificate of Conveyance and Necessity. The state of Texas gives monopolies to water suppliers. So whoever the water supplier is, they have a monopoly on that geographic area. RCH has a monopoly on this area. So when we first talked to RCH, they said, fine, we can serve 200 or 300 lots, no problem, first phase. The time people get moved in is 3 or 4 years. And then they said, okay, this is the infrastructure that we need to improve the water system to serve your community. And they went over the big list of things that they needed, water towers, pipes, pumps, and all that stuff. We said, okay, fine, that looks expensive, but that's fine. Then we find out RCH buys their water from Rockwall. Where Rockwall said, we're not selling any more money to any more water to RCH. That's just not happening. So we go back to RCH, and they said, well, if they're not going to sell us any more water, that's going to be a problem. We said, okay, fine. So we started looking for another solution to the water issue. That solution that we came up with, we went and talked to High Point. High Point said about the same thing. High Point serves water right here to City Hall. And High Point said, we can serve 200 or 300 of your homes, but after that, you got to make improvements to our water system. And it was a little bit more money than RCH, but it was more expensive. We said, okay, that's not going to work too well. And then they didn't have a long-term commitment for the water because they buy their water from Forney and Terrell. I said, well, we'd prefer to have water that's more reliable and a long-term commitment. So we went to Terrell. Terrell has a direct connection to North Texas. There's 2 or 3 ways to get water around here. One is the main water supplier is North Texas. It's the water supplier in this geographic area. And a member city or the original cities who joined North Texas back in 1960, 1959, and then everybody else who has water can have a direct connection to North Texas, where you just actually lay a pipe and you connect to North Texas, but you're not a member city, so you don't vote, you don't get a lot of membership benefits, but you can get water directly from North Texas. Like RCH and High Point, they buy the water from another city, as I just mentioned, Rockwall or Terrell or Forney, who have direct connections to North Texas. They're also, I don't know if Rockwall's a member city or not, but so they still have to rely on a wholesale agreement from one of those cities. So we said, let's go to a city that has a direct connection to North Texas so we can get more reliable water and probably get it a little bit cheaper because every time someone touches it, they're going to mark it up and cost it. So we went to Terrell, and along with the other development, Tapestry, that was talking to you. And so we worked a three-way deal with Terrell, Tapestry, and Terrell was going to supply the water, and they were pretty excited about it. They wanted to sell more water. And so we designed, and in fact, the engineers were in the process of buying the right-of-way. It's 9 miles away. It's hugely expensive. And the only way that worked was with a three-party agreement, us, Tapestry, and Terrell. Terrell was paying for part of it. Everybody else was paying their share. It was very expensive, but it was full. We knew we had enough water at that time to last the whole 1,800 homes. Well, the city here, MC, decided they didn't want to do a deal with Tapestry because Tapestry was an ETJ. I didn't really get into any of that. I don't know anything about it, but that killed the three-way deal. So now we had to come back and say, how are we going to handle this water? Well, from the very beginning, one of the options when RCH said they couldn't supply was a well. And the reason I mentioned that about the well, the golf course over Buffalo Creek uses well water. The school district uses it at the high school for irrigation. So we kept getting tests on that water and checking out that water, and it's totally drinkable. It's very clean water, very good water. So we said, well, that's always an option. And now, in the last 6 or 8 months, RCH said they wanted to really just turn over the water system to MC. And we said, great, that's great. We want MC to be in the water business. I don't know if MC wants to be in the water business. And MC is trying to get answers from RCH on cost and, what's this entail? How much money do you have in the bank? How does this work? And what deferred maintenance is there? And all of those questions haven't been answered. So we said, okay. So we talked to High Point recently, and High Point said that they can serve us, and they gave us new cost estimates that were much lower than the original cost estimates. So they're probably going to serve the first 200 or 300 homes. And in addition to that, we're probably going to drill a well. And that's for backup purposes. To make sure that we have enough water, we're going to go ahead and drill a well. I was telling Mike, I'll tell you the cool thing about the well. This is so cool. Okay. The water comes out at 105 to 115 degrees because it's 3,200 feet deep. Well, that's pretty hot. So that golf course and everybody have cooling towers, and they run the water through the cooling towers to cool it down. Well, I said, let's just have natural spring hot tubs. So at the amenity center, we're going to put the well at the amenity center, and the water's going to cool as it cascades down from one hot tub to another. Like this one's 105. That's too hot. Go. This one's 90. And so we're going to have these big tubs and chlorinate it. We're going to have a valve. Takes the potable water over to that tank and the swim water over here, and that goes into the pond for irrigation after it flows through the pond. Okay, so that's the goal, and we don't know exactly if that's going to happen, but that's the goal, to have the only community with natural hot springs.
Thank you.
And the water, Mike explained last time, we have to have water. We're not going to turn any dirt until we know we got water. That's just a fact, because you got to have fire protection. You can't get a building permit, and no builders are going to come build a house if you got any water. That's just, we got to have water. So we're going to get the water. We got the water going.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Huffines. Mark, I'll go ahead and start with you for discussion on your motion.
Yeah, I'd like to bring us back to what we're really discussing here, which is the applicant's request for zoning for a planned development district for this property. That's the action. It has nothing else to do. And we have 6 statutory reasons in my viewpoint that we need to support that application. First, the 2 tracts that are under consideration have been formally annexed into the city, so they now carry zoning of agriculture. The applicant's request is consistent with the McLendon-Chisholm future land use map as found on page 38 of the comprehensive plan. And as we all know, zoning must follow the future land use map. By state law, zoning must comply with that future land use map, and we're unable by state law to amend the future land use map without first amending the comprehensive plan. So the comprehensive plan states through the future land use map, it's that land area is to be planned development, period. That's the only zoning application that can be done here as a change from agriculture. And then the city has entered into a developer's agreement with the developer that specifies specific land use and development standards, which of course are governed, what we're governing with zoning. Those are all specified in the ordinance and in the developer's agreement, and is consistent with the concept plan that was presented. And that I would just want to remind this body that we previously unanimously approved the preliminary plat for the development, and it's consistent with the developer's agreement and the draft ordinance. So I see no option but to approve. The only other option that the commission could undertake would be to recommend denial. I would strongly oppose that approach because I don't think we have any ground for denial of the application. And then I'll just parenthetically add that this commission is concerned with the future development of McLendon-Chisholm to specific standards consistent with the comprehensive plan. I think the presentation clearly shows it's consistent in terms of the spirit of the comprehensive plan as developed and implemented 2 years ago. And the other is that now that it is part of the city and the city wants zoned to a planned development, the city will carry maximum amount of leverage with the developer should there be disagreements over specific development. And that has proven out in any other development we have within the city where there's a developer's agreement, to include Sonoma Verde, where we've successfully gone back and addressed infrastructure shortfalls that could manifest themselves in the future. I appreciate all the thoughts and concerns by the citizenry concerning a number of issues. I think they're all logical issues that can be addressed. They need to be addressed by City Council and by the City Planner and by the City Administrator and City staff. But those are not issues that we should be undertaking when we're considering a zoning application. Thank you.
Does anyone else have items for discussion? Okay, if there's no other discussion, I'm sorry, Brad, are you good?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
I will take a vote on the motion that is on the table. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries unanimously. That is the last item on our agenda, so I will adjourn the meeting at 7:42.
You can more than get a ride home, my friend. I'm not sure.